At an online conference organised by Sea Light, Jonathan Malaya, Assistant Director General of the Philippine National Security Council, warned China that militarization or construction on Scarborough Shoal would cross a red line. According to Director of Sea Light Ray Powell, over the past 12 months, China has doubled its presence around Scarborough Shoal, deploying dozens of ships, including Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels. Sea Light also released a report documenting satellite images of significant damage to Scarborough Shoal's coral reefs and marine ecology over the past decade. The report highlights, quote, the use of high-pressure water pumps to quickly suck sediment from the seabed. Let me come to you, Renato. So I think we've established that you both think that China is preparing to militarize Scarborough Shoal. How likely, though, Renato, is it that it could achieve this year or next year?
Chances are, of course, China might decide to, primarily because it's also getting very strong signal from the United States and the Philippines. Remember when Secretary Hegseth visited the Philippines, he said developing deterrence. Then just before the Balikatan exercise, you have, it's an aerial maritime cooperative activity where the United States Indo-PACOM sent 2 B-1 bombers being escorted by F-16s from Clark and Philippine Air Force F-A-50s flying over Scarborough Shoal. So that's already a signal being sent by the United States, by the Trump administration. The alliance will be transformed from simply in terms of honoring its treaty commitment to the Philippines to a term used by Secretary Hegseth, deterrence. So China already see the transformation of the alliance, the development of deterrence, not only against China in the South China Sea, but more importantly in Taiwan, by the fact that, 2 B-1 bombers flying all the way from Guam, from Andrew Air Base in Guam. That's sent a strong signal to China.
Is that deterrence working, Professor Su?
Well, I think probably. I mean, so far, there's no very strong military actions that are around this area.
But it's doing undercover. I guess this is what we're trying to get to. They seem to be doing this under the radar stuff. This grey zone warfare, and it's building up. It's gradually changing the status quo and the norm in the South China Sea, as it has since 2012, and it appears to be accelerating, if we believe Sea Light, the activity at Scarborough Shoal. So is that deterrence working?
Well, I think so, but let's see. China has, initiated multiple different kind of actions, including increasing this fishing activities in the region. And usually we cannot be too naive to believe that there is nothing, about strategic purposes.
And Renato, help us to link the two. So we started off talking about the Chinese research vessel in the Luzon Strait and the submersibles. And we have also talked about Scarborough. So link the two areas together for us in terms of the strategic picture.
Well, it's preparation, basically consolidating its claim in the South China Sea, ensuring, of course, also preparation for a Taiwan contingency, making sure that Chinese submarines would have the necessary scientific knowledge regarding the operation in the Luzon Strait. Not only submarine, I also forgot mines, mine warfare. China could also put mines there, basically just in case chances are if you have American forces on board their amphibious supply ships going to Taiwan. So looking at all possibilities, and of course, importance of Chinese forces operating from what we call the triangle as a flanking attack against Taiwan in a Taiwan scenario.
Professor Su, so at the same time that there has been this degradation that has been recorded by organizations like Sea Light, China has maintained a pristine, an excellent environmental record. It released a report in July 2024 where it claimed exactly this. And on the other hand, it's alleged that the Philippines has damaged the ecology at features like Sandy Cay and Sabina Shoal. So what is China doing?
Well, basically, this kind of accusation of Philippines with the main actor who damaged this sea ecosystem is trying to justify the fishery activities, Chinese fishery activities in the region, and to legitimize that this is it is the real legitimate actors who can do fisheries in a clean and in a eco-friendly way. But according to other reports, some studies have pointed out that it is the findings from China is simply fabricated because some studies find that China is still trying very hard to harvest giant clams and also do dredging and constructing artificial islands, etc. Make a lot more damages to the ecosystem in the region. And also, according to a Center for Strategic and International Studies report, it reveals that China's construction projects buried over 1,861 hectares of coral reefs in the South China Sea. So these are some other evidence that shows that China is indeed the actor who damage this ecosystem in the region.
Renato, is China trying to distract attention from its own damage as laid out by Professor?
Of course. This is what they call gaslighting, a term that I learned from my son. Basically tried to blame the other one for the damages here, and it's a classic case of gaslighting in international relations.
And so we know that the Philippine government plans to file an international lawsuit against China, perhaps a sort of a second one to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. Do we know how that is progressing?
Again, that remains to be seen, because what happened, of course, in 2013 is different from what's happening right now. Two factors there you have to look at. Number one, of course, when China occupied Scarborough Shoal in 2012, it really embarrassed, it really humiliated the late President Benigno Aquino. So he was basically asking his cabinet members, what can we do to basically get back at China? So somebody advised in the cabinet, retired Justice Antonio Carpio, why not file a case against China? And of course, you also have the very active participation of the late Foreign Secretary at the time, Albert Del Rosario, who was really dead set. Despite, in fact, you have voices inside the Department of Foreign Affairs who were very reluctant to file a case against China. Even the cabinet then was divided. So you have two personalities there, the late President Benigno Aquino III, and of course the late Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Albert Del Rosario, who pushed for that. I don't see this in the case right now. China's destroying the shoal, so what's new? And of course, the other factor there is, do we have somebody in the Department of Foreign Affairs who are, of course, forceful enough to convince President Marcos Jr. and, of course, the cabinet to file a case against China? Because actually, the filing of that case was very expensive. It took some time before the Philippines was able finally to compensate the American lawyers. So again, a number of factors will have to be taken into account.